So, what I've liked over the last 3 years is, I was going to say, understanding pain in a different way. Understanding, people use the term understanding now, and I feel like if I incorporate understanding into my vocabulary, I would have to also add um, above understanding, right? And I do have that. Like when I said above understanding, my whole body relaxed, my heart relaxed, and sort of jumped at first. So I think when I think about above understanding, I think about channeling the divine, channeling my higher self, my God self, um, and just channeling in general. I've been channeling now, I know, since I was little, consciously since I was in my early 20s. And I guess when I say little, because I'm still little, I'm only 5 feet. So, I mean younger. Pretty much, I want to say crown chakra open from birth. And the majority of my life I spent working on root chakra while still not really wanting to be planted. So, of course, that wasn't successful. It had to be chosen, and for me, it had to be committed to. So my chakra system is cool right now. There's a few things that I'm healing based on being in the physical body and not being able to let go of certain physical ailments that have been with me throughout this lifetime and generationally. And I'm talking about my teeth. I was born with the birth defect, I guess, or a gene thing. It's called amelogenesis imperfecta. I feel like that's it. Amelogenesis. And so it's basically, a lack of enamel, and enamel protects the tooth. And so without it, they get yellowish and brownish, and they break off, and they get holes in them, and all of that. And of course, teeth breaks down food, human food, or not. I don't want to say human food, but food, and if it can't be properly broken down, it gets to the stomach and has a hard time digesting. So a lot of energy goes into that, and a lot of kind of ache goes into that, pain, that discomfort goes into that. And so it also affects the ability to digest the energies around a person. So I'll speak for myself. Growing up, just trying to be my energy and express my energy in the midst of so many different kind of energies, and I was blendy because I'm like water, and I'm like air, and earth, and fire, which sort of is for me the spark of life, soul origination, and so much, dragon, serpent. I was gonna say primordial, but it's as far. I can't even say far. That's just where my spirit or soul comes from. And I've traveled so many incarnations, a lot here in the earth. In the earth realm, that is more solid and more familiar. Earth. Over time. Over space. And space and time and other things that are on top of that. With the idea of multidimensionality and being able to live in different times, and time being a thing and a not thing, it allows for mass data from mass lived experiences to correlate and try to make sense of, to get out of that life and birth cycle. And that's the Earth story. There's different galaxies, different universes, in the sense that I think of people as their own universes. So I feel like I've encountered universes for the duration of my life, and right now I'm talking about May 17th, 1978 to present, which is July 23rd, 2023. So I'm talking about that too. Before this, I started painting again this week. I haven't painted in about 2 months since I've been at the shelter, almost 80 days maybe. And I didn't want to paint there because everywhere I've gone since I started painting, August 2nd, 2019, when I realized that from the very first painting that this was it, like this was everything that I had been trying to do my entire life, coming together in this one surprising, flukish excursion. And so, it had all the things that I've been doing: poetry, music, screenplays, plays, and just that trying to express, and spirituality. What I dedicated my entire life to is love, and God is love, and serving God and following my path, even when it was painful, even when it was confusing, even when there were places that I never wanted to go back to. And I'm talking about the trips between I was gonna say friends and family, and it's just not true, but certain cities with people that I knew for, I'm gonna say, okay, I'm not gonna be able to say it. That anger comes from how focused I was on love and loving people regardless, and feeling loved, or feeling like we were building towards love together, and then realizing consciously in 2020, 2021 that these people didn't love me like I loved them. Some of them just thought I was ill. Some of them thought that they were better than me and measured our social status based on one another. Some felt competitive and jealous. Some didn't know what to think. Some felt scared that I would leave them. They didn't know I was always leaving and coming back. There was a time in my early years, pretty much maybe the first 7 or 8, I was here. When I say here, I say Earth majority, but I was still traveling consciously. I would tell people in my teens and early 20s, every dimension isn't physical. This is me healing myself. This is how I heal myself and how I've healed myself consciously over the last 3 years. Losing people out of my life. I've been praying for, I want to be with people who are same heart resonance. I want to be with people who co-create consciously. And I would say that. I didn't realize that I was saying that, and what the people in my life were probably like, what? Heart resonance? What? You know, but I was saying that I outgrew, that I was seeking more love, that I love myself more, and I was seeking that reflection instead of being so much of a reflection. And that's what the paintings did in 2019, August 2nd, when I saw that first one. It helped me know, I felt click, 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 like I was coming together, like all my lifetimes were coming together. And I thought at the time it was Earth, but it was everything. It was everything that I know from this perspective still, because there's so much more. I can feel it. But at the time it was, and it's so grand. It's so grand. I can't even think. It's like you can't even think about 10 billion people. I can't even think about 1 billion people. So it's overwhelming even when I see sand or what trees are made of. It's so, it's I don't know, way more. I feel like this is way more than 1 billion. That's all I'm saying. And that's why I feel like people are universes. And I treated people as such. And I treated people as, at first I was working with generations, and that was large, and that's why I got down to dealing with the individual in front of me. And if there were many individuals in front of me, that became a different thing. I was learning in a different way. But the way that I teach is usually one-on-one, because it's a concentration thing. And I can, especially if I can hear the person. Now I'm more aware in total, but growing up it was clairaudience. So if I could hear the person, I can hear the different tones, and I could hear the different strengths and the different pains and wounds, which can be easily guided to strengths and healing. So that's another way that I heal. What you saw with the crying, I don't need to cry like that anymore, but that's my inner child. That's the pain of that, of this. I'm still in it in a sense, when I talk about it, right? I feel like, anyways, that's the part of me that can weep forever, that has the permission to weep forever, because it was painful. And I love all my experiences. All my experiences make me me, and so that's kind of hard to let go. But in this case, in talking to the camera, like, it's over. It's really over. And the breath work is from the yoga and meditation that I've practiced for the last 29 or so years, since the late teens to now. So it's paid off tremendously, because I can I use things that I learned in books and over time on my own, but now it's just natural. I teach, it feels like I teach myself. My body knows what maybe I've read or what I've seen that I've taken on, because I like to learn, but it sits next to what feels natural to me, but it's built with what feels, because I can't discard what I've learned, because I love learning. But I come up with it used to be a synthesis. It's hard to describe. I come up with my own opinion. It's a relationship. I have a relationship with the ideas that are new to me, or that I haven't thought about before. So if something's new to me, if it's really new to me, it's challenging me. As soon as it's new to me and it's presented, I block. And then later that night, or an hour, or, because it used to take forever, but it's usually overnight, where I can think about it and integrate it to what I already know and what I already trust, because I have been with my knowledge and grown in the way that I wanted to grow. And it's super circular and tight and specific, but it's so expensive. Just like a few, grains of sand. And so it's a fascinating, because I'm learning more about myself, and I channel myself, and I channel my future self, my past self, because there's relationship. So another way that I was healing myself was just I call it time travel, where I first learned how to time travel, but I feel like it's called something else now. Maybe it's called healing inner child, or hugging your inner child. If there's a particular traumatic event, or and you didn't get the nurturing that you wanted then, or there was nobody, and now you are able to feel that for yourself. You can travel back and give that to your inner child. I forgot what it's called, but it's called something. But for me, before I knew a name of it, when I was younger, I felt a presence, and I always, like, if I was going through a really hard time and wanting to give up, because even as a young kid, I was like, this is, where am I? Like, what? But I have my dream state, and now I know that a lot of my ancestors were talking to me through that state, and that's not just my earth ancestors, my soul ancestors, and other. So wait, where was I going with that? To go back to now. Okay, going back. So I felt like a presence. So as I got older, I still felt like, let's say if I was 20, I would think about something that happened when I was 16, think about something that happened when I was 2, and could go and give my presence to that part of me, to say that things were going to be okay. We made this far. We're fine. We can do this, And what this was, consciously, I didn't really know until I was 16, but it was to love and to bring my loving energy from all my lifetimes and all my travels and plant it in the earth. Plant it. Grid work. Lay my ley lines along with what everyone else was doing here. And I know how that sounds, but that's what I was doing, and that's what I mean. And my whole thing is that I was made in love. I chose love. I asked God, how can I serve you? Because when you have so much love, I just wanted to share it. And it just became other things. It became learning how to heal. It became hurting and hurting other people to learn how to not do that. It came about being in love to the highest degree that I had been able to be in December 2019, 3 months after I started my painting. And I thought the world was ending. My world was ending because everything was coming together, and I thought it was just done. And at that point, I had about 77 paintings. And my aunt, she came to LA. I was living in LA at a friend's apartment who was letting me stay there. She came and she read all my work, everything that I had made up to that point. Because before, it had been in pictures and it wasn't everything. She touched everyone and read everyone. And when she was leaving, there was 3 stacked up against the wall by the keyboard. And she read it. This one, it's a yellow one. Say by 10. And she said it looked like a being coming back into the fold, like rays of sun. Like, whatever she said was my whole story, and I felt seen. Because I didn't feel my family on my mother's side ever saw me for who I was, and now I know they did, and they acted accordingly. They acted to their own heart and their own thoughts and their own insecurities and their own love and their own ways. But I didn't feel seen and loved for who I was. And in that moment, I felt seen, and it was enough to be able to start to walk away. just wanted to be myself. I never wanted to be anybody else. All I wanted to do is come here, be myself amongst everything, amongst everyone, and be loved and accepted like I love and accept people. It doesn't mean unconditional relationships. It doesn't mean like we're all gonna be hanging out, but the love energy as true energy, the love philosophy that I've cultivated, the emotion that I feel that love is, what I've learned from everyone and every encounter that I still get to learn. Like right now, I have tears on my face that I won't wipe off because this is the ancestors' way of healing me, right? It's soothing. It does calm me. Being around this fast-moving river is fast-moving to me right now, and just nature and hearing the birds, which are my family and friends, comfort, and that's part of what I was saying at the beginning, above understanding. So just reaching into that truth, because when I'm painting, I was usually sitting on the ground and painting, so I was over it. And when I look at the work, at this point, my anniversary is coming up, my 4-year anniversary, and I have about 800 paintings, maybe more. That's what I've been doing for the last 4 years. This last 3 months I've taken off since I've been at the shelter, because as I've been painting, I've lost people, and I associate it with healing, and I associate it with my ascension paintings, and I associate it with the love that I met. I met somebody December 7th, 2019, and from the August 2nd, 2019, I was wrapping things up. The December 7th was coming into the beginning of, I felt, my divine union, my twin flame union, and I acted accordingly. And we were in communication in every way we could be, but through text, through iMessages, because I had another phone, so a phone and an iPad, old iPad. So text on the phone, which is Android based, and then iMessages, videos on the iPad, and I have my MacBook Pro 2012, and I've opened it up. It's one of the ones you can still open up. I've opened it up 3 times and upgraded it, and now it's like at the most upgraded it can be. So it's on 2 operating systems currently behind, so because it changed, which is fine. Apple change. I mean, it's good to change, right? So anyways, because I had done everything that I felt that I wanted to do with the paintings, they said everything. They told my whole life story. They told the stories that I've encountered, that people have told me. And when I say life story, I was talking about life stories at the time. It was my earth lifetimes. I didn't really think about other lifetimes. I didn't think about other incarnations. Oh, I guess I'm saying human. Ooh. Oh, I mean my human incarnations. I didn't think about other things on earth. So it's just been so wide and so much information. But anyways, the paintings represent, and this is also the way that I think. It's the way that I paint. It's the way that I create. It's the way that I walk through life. It's the way that I'm taught. It's the way that I synthesize. It's just the way that I have been able to interpret and make sense of my environment and experiences, emotions, thoughts. And so they flow in and out, They just are like nature. Things move all the time, right? So, anyways, it was important. I thought it was important. Okay, I'm just gonna move on. So understanding, the reason why I use understanding so much is because I feel like I spend a lot of time in the underworld, which I consider the unconscious and the subconscious of the human collective. And what do we call it? The zeitgeist. While also working with the dreams that we put up which is our movies and our music and entertainment. When I was younger, it was music. I was really focused on music and movies and TV shows. When we still had we didn't have all the channels. It would go to black for a certain period in those bars. And then a lot of series were like 27 episodes and stuff. And then we didn't have anything to watch for the summer. And then it was just it was a different time. And then shows started having more seasonal base and filler episodes, which I never really liked and understood, but now I can appreciate, and because I don't think people do that anymore. But I feel like fillers would be able to kind of step out of the main storyline and kind of refresh things and help the actors and just, and surprise the audiences, and maybe start from a filler episode, like start, I don't know, but that's experimental, and it might be happening because I haven't watched TV and movies very sporadically in the last 4 years, and before that, the previous 7 years, I'm not really. Anyways, I was listening to books on tape, and I was reading a lot of fan fiction, a lot of from 2016 to 2019, Lexa and Clark and Supergirl. Oh, dang. Oh, Lena and Kara. And then in between, Draco and Harry. So, anyways, and some Black Panther. I don't want to talk about the combinations in that one. They're not bad. I just don't want to speak about it. But yeah, I was reading fan fiction through that time, and I was engaged with film school and trying to get a short film off in LA with my friend, with the apartment that I was staying in. So I was just saying that I spent a lot of time in that arena. One of my outer planets placements is Uranus and Scorpio in the 6th house, and so I consider that a part of it, a big part of what I was doing at that time. So going back to August 2nd, things were closing up, so I was able to rise up to more of the surface. I don't know how to describe that, but 70% of our Earth is water. That's what we're told, 70% of our body, and that means there's so much that's unexplored underneath. So I just sort of think about that as the unknown, the unconscious, the subconscious, and I think about that in the term of human psychology. But for me, psyche is the study of the soul. Since we haven't, I think, proven the soul in our time yet, I'm not trying to be facetious. Timelines jump. We jump a lot. But right now, I'm, July 25th, 2023. Sunday, and it's before 9 a.m. Got an early start today. Shower, Abhyanga, shower, meditation, eye exercises, and bed yoga. So, and looked at my rooms. Put soap in the bathroom for the guys to at least, because I'm in a shelter, I don't know if I mentioned that, but to at least have the pretense of starting the day off with clean hands. I just had to, and I've been, thinking about more ways I can contribute without overextending myself, because energetically I contribute by being there. I'm in constant prayer. That's been since my early 20s. I think it's Thessalonians 5:16 to 5:18. My birthday is May 17th, 1978. So when I look at Bible stuff, a lot of times 17 is my favorite number. And that breaks down to 8. 8 is fate. 17 is 8-pointed Venus star represents that, and peace and love. And so that's been my path too, romanticizing love, the dreams of the collecting. I was a dream weaver and a dream catcher and a dream collector. So those romantic songs that people are like, oh, that, people are not like that, the 80s R&B. Like, I believed in all of that. I believed in fairy tales. I believed in people getting together and loving one another. I grew up with, family ties, and I was going to say The Cosby Show, even though it's sort of, I have different feelings about The Cosby Show now. Same thing with some of the movies from the Me Too movement, like Kill Bill and Kill Bill 2, which got me through a hospitalization and a 6-month recovery. So I have a lot of feelings of when they first came out. So I have a lot of feelings about what happened and got revealed in the late part of the 2010s area. But that needed to come to light. Everything is coming to light. We all know this. So there are things, that at least are now above the surface, right? So we can have this inner world of understanding, our surface understanding, but that still can get denied, but it doesn't go back down. It's up, right? It's risen up. It's resurrected from the unconscious, from the underworld, from underneath, right? So for me, I like being understanding, and now that I've spoken here, I will incorporate my above standing and share, like I am, my inner standing. The paintings share my inner visions as much as my outer experiences. And when I first started, I was like, this is all my love. This is all the love that we've made, and all the I had it. It's still what I made with the people, everybody in my life. I'm smiling because it is, because I was creating with them, right? Even though I took on a lot of energy healing from them, because I didn't know the boundary thing, and I didn't know how powerful of a healer I was. I did know that I was feeling drained and overwhelmed, and I had to isolate. And so there were certain times that I couldn't work a normal job, or had to work part-time, like when I worked at the bookstore on college campus. But when you go to school, people in the university environment, they want you to graduate and do well. So there's a lot of flexibility, and I'm an excellent student, so my professors like me. And so I was able to do my work, and if I had to miss, I had to miss, but it was not very often, because a lot of times that's part of your grade. Anyways, so the paintings also represented my spiritual beliefs, which is also what you see is valid. What you see, because they're abstract, they're called abstract, but they're Mayan-Sibiti, right? And that's from Nidia Okorafor. It's a language, it's Mayan-Sibiti. It's a light love language. And so is this. So are my ink sketches. It's my essence. Not only did I bring all my knowledge down and grit it in the earth, if I brought all my knowledge down, it's in me, right? And I honor that, and that's why I think about people as universes. And when I say I was dealing with people on the individual level, I think of us as our ancestors, right? So there's a Psalms, I feel like I've been trying to remember, but I feel like it's 139:14, somewhere around there, but it's talking about being wonderfully made in the womb, right? So this is a lot of work. So I honor the vessel to my essence, right? And so there are times where I'm like, I don't want to be touched. I'm praying. Sometimes I'm praying more consciously. Underneath is always be in me, see in me, guide me, let me do your ways. That's been since my early 20s, right? And I started with the prayer beads, the 108. So it just became a habit, and that's the Taurus, right? Taurus 12th house. But that's also habit. I have family members. I come from family members who deal with addiction, right? Right? So all kinds of addictions, right? So how to heal that addiction thing? Habit. Yoga for me. The union of mind, body, and soul. So I started that path in my late teens. Because it's a balance thing,
And that's Taoism. I looked at Taoism, Buddhism, Bodhisattva, the path, the middle way, which you know, but the union, the yoga being a bhakti, right? The yoga being the idea of bringing together my whole soul, right? So that so I would understand myself, but so I would be able to serve better and be balanced and be whole. So if I'm dealing with addiction, I can't bring that to yoga and my truest mission for it or purpose for it or reason for starting it. It would have to be tempered, right? So that's part of my practice, and that's part of my healing, and that's part of my teaching, is that all of this is practice. Life is practice. For me, it's a spiritual discipline that I love sharing, and there's certain things that came from my childhood, which was just being curious. All of us who are like, why, like wanting to know, that's natural. If that's what it feels like for me, that never died. I just stopped asking my environment, the people around me, and I started asking inside, and I got answers. And then I became a channeler, right? Because I was getting these answers, but I didn't know where they were coming from. And that's it. That's the beginning of developing my intuition, accepting knowing. It's sort of like my friend and I, we talk about it when we were younger in math, like under, I'd say elementary and maybe middle school, where we could do math in our head. And I did math with a pen. And we got to high school, and it was like maybe 8th grade too. But it was like, show your work. And that was difficult. We didn't know. So I kind of have a theory about that, is that we had to slow down and be part of that system to slow down, and I feel like that happened to a lot of kids. But I feel like we were here to help balance society, balance the planet, whatever passion that anybody has. That's the seed. That's where you go. I feel like if everybody played their note, then it would be this beautiful symphony. But I can hear it. I can hear that music. I can hear that harmony. I can hear it right now. So, because I also don't believe in dissonance. So anyways, with my paintings, people thought I had looked at things through rose-colored glasses. I saw the colors and everything. People recently have told me to watch Pocahontas and listen to the colors of the wind, and I feel like I did once. But basically, it's like, I don't believe that any colors don't go together. And I wasn't really focused on colors because my vision is, I don't know what to say. My glasses are old. I have very sensitive eyes to light. And so it's dark. It wasn't this color. It wasn't orange, but I worked with really low light the first 3 or 4 months. And so I had never seen my paintings in the light until the 6-month mark. And I cried. The pictures don't do them justice, though, and so, and they're gorgeous. So the paintings also represent my spiritual beliefs, is that I saw you, and I see you, and you saw me. I felt like whatever anybody saw in me that was good, they had it too. That's what I would be. That's where our connection was, right? And whatever they didn't like, I would have to check in myself and be like, am I like that? And sometimes I was, and then I could it ended up easier to transmute, because I love myself and I could forgive myself, because I had already worked on forgiveness in my early 20s. So and that was a gift from God, and that was grace, because I've been asking everybody, reading about it, praying about it. I was trying to forgive my mother relationship and what I went through in my childhood, because she was my primary love in my childhood. That's who I dedicated my life. That I thought if my mother was happy, everything would be happy, and the world would be happy, and I would be at peace, and this whole thing. So now I know that I substituted the Divine Mother for her. but I needed to forgive. And so I had asked and asked and asked, and then one day I was able to. And then it just kind of carried on. And I still deal with it though, and it's deeper. It's deeper than I thought, especially when you're recognizing different times and you start to know more of what people thought and things that people did, and not just this lifetime, how long things have been going on. And then for me, I get tired of it, and I just want peace, and I just want to rest, and I just want to see the world, and I just want to like be on the water and be on a boat and zip line and parachuted once, and I could do that again. But I want to do stuff that I haven't done, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think that I said everything that I wanted to say. Because that was a lot. Oh, I'm always talking about the paintings. Okay, so they're also they're like puzzles, and I also want to animate. It made me know that I wanted to animate, because they look like they're moving, and so I feel like they're like books. You know, when you go back to a book and you see something different, but for the paintings, it looks like you could leave for 30 seconds and you see. I just love them, and some of them for me are 360, and for whoever buys them, they can turn them whatever way they want. But I was overwhelmed. What else are they? Yeah, they're mirrors. It basically says, see yourself, and whatever. I love when people read them and on their own, but when they tell me what they see, because I can see them differently, and then it expands what I know, because and that's different perspectives, and those are gifts. That's more knowledge. That's more things to play with and incorporate and love with, because it connects us. So the paintings are, because I have a word, endoge, it means love unites us. And it used to mean, this had a parentheses, and it meant love unite us, and a parenthesis around the S. Yep, love unite us and love unites us. And I started using that word when I was like 17 or 18, and it's been on the internet since about then, late 90s, early 2000s. And the internet is a way of grounding into physical, but energy. So it's a step from above, inner. That's hard to explain. It's not under. It's not that, but that's a channel thing. So the internet is like a little archive to me. It's a beginning. Anyways. And so it's been in our physical reality all that time, even if it wasn't being used verbally, but it was by a couple people. My cousin and one of my ex-girlfriends still use it with me, so that's been over 20 years. And I think one of the things in the Bible, because I don't know the Bible very well, but I know pieces of it, and I've read it, I'm reading it, I still read it pretty much daily, but I don't memorize it. God is with me all the time, right? All the time. And I feel like Yeshua is not only a guide, like a big brother, but we're so part of each other that it's, even when I smile, because it's hard to separate. It's hard to be like, I would say we're friends. We're family, and we're more than that. It's a path, and it's a path of storytelling. It's a path of parables. It's a path for me of truth. There's a lot of suffering that I hope people just skip, because Jesus did that. That story that we've constructed of that time, and what some of us know as true, has served. It served. That was the thing. It served. It freed. And I would tell, I had this feeling in my 20s. I was like, people who give themselves to, I'm on a rant now. Holy crap. People who give themselves to Jesus, that's my mom's side of the family who's Christian or Baptist Christian. Then, in the Bible it says many rooms or many mansions in my Father's house. If, let's say that was my first lifetime with Jesus and I was a disciple, I believed that's eternal life. What wouldn't I do with eternal life except serve God? And then what I found as I've gotten older is because I surrender a lot because I have to, because things change and things are challenging. I'm like, why am I here? What am I doing here? Why can't I get out of this poverty cycle? What's happening when I feel so rich and abundant in every other way? Spiritually, inner security, which is, anyways. So there's so much, right? I'll go back to the paintings. So I started painting again this week at a community center nearby. At the encouragement of one of the staff, a couple weeks when I went, I wasn't ready because it brings up my past. It brings up the people that weren't happy for me or wanted to be but couldn't be, and that is just the truth of it. Is the truth of it. I've been doing what I've been saying all my life because of they are all so different. That's how my thoughts are. They are just, I change direction. I'll pick up something else that's new. I will, because they're not planned. That's another reason why I honor my spirit and follow. It's a guide to follow one's heart. That's another gift that's in the paintings, is that there's freedom. There's no mistakes. There's always something new to see. That statement that here in the United States of America during this time period, my time period, it's like there's nothing new under the sun. That's insulting to the sun, to earth, to nature. It's such a lie. It's a clear lie. And so it's a reminder that, we're always changing, even if we don't feel like we are, even if we're all resistant. I mean, there's certain things that are like cemented in, but once those things break up, even if it takes a long time to crack those surfaces, kind of like water onto rock, even if that's a sweet release. That's learning on the way back up, or however we want to think about up or down, or expansion or contraction, the breath, and however we want to look at it. But that's I was just thinking about someone that I feel like I lost, and I'm like, I thought that they were healing too, and they are, but I feel like they're working on, anyways. I thought the person that I met December 7th, that I was in a constant everyday communication relationship with for 5 months, that means a lot of those paintings that I did, that's what I proposed to them, December 29th, after my aunt had read the paintings. It was my aunt's 70th birthday too. So and then I was guided to get off of social media, and I thought it was going to be for a month break, because, January, blah, 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 and then that was it. And I didn't know about COVID until the end of February, like February 27th or 28th, when I went from LA up here to Sacramento. Then I got sick a month later, and then I was isolated for a month, and then my fiance and I, what I consider, they said they were my person, and I mean everything I say. So that ended, because I didn't want to do long distance. So I felt like it was mutual, but I'm not sure. It was the only way it could be. It was the only way it could be for the needs of the other person. And if one person is needing something and you're in a relationship, or for me, if one person is needing something, I'm in a relationship, for the health of our relationship, that person has to do what they have to do. It's freedom. Like, I want a healthy relationship. That means two healthy people. That means that we are supporting one another in what is good and nurturing and loving to that person, while still being in congruence, and while it's not compromising me, right? So that's what was happening. I love them. There's a lot of horrible shit that happened. I love them, and because I love them, so much. I loved myself before I met them, and that was obvious. That was the gift of those 4 months of the painting coming back together. I knew that before though, but I had this. It was full of love, and I was making love every day, and I knew that whoever I gave a piece to or whoever bought them in future would have that love, no matter where I was in creation, no matter when I died, or it was intentional. So I felt that I fulfilled all my life purpose. That's how I felt. So I was very ecstatic and ready to go. But there was, and ready to start over and start anew. And I wanted to start with the love of my life and build from our family and make the art from that and have that go out to the community. I just wanted to simplify. I just wanted to be at home, a house spouse, but have the art that I make at my home with my family go out into the world. So go out to the community, go out into maybe the state, the country, the world, and then, the cosmos, just everywhere. Ironically, or unknown, like it's already everywhere. It's just not. Like there are certain dimensions, there's certain timelines. The work is done. It's just reverberating, and that's the beautiful part. So I want to relax. So I try to be at peace. I was telling somebody yesterday, I look like I'm on vacation a lot. People are like, how can you? If I look like that, where do you think I was before? And for me, it was the underworld. Even though I was on the surface of this world and dealing with people, it was so unlike me, the environment that I was in, with the people that I was in, that when I was able to be free and feel seen by my aunt and know that I had been showing that, because that painting was done in the second month. It was done in the first 5 weeks. So then I traveled back through that time and thought about what I had learned in that time, and it was mine, and I was able to share that in the work, but I didn't have to talk about it, right? Still writing, still doing my ink sketches, which are like journals, but I didn't want to have to talk. And because then COVID happened, and I got it early on, and we didn't know. That's why I was isolated for at least, I feel like 15 to 18 days, but then for the other 12, I couldn't be around the other people, because at the time you needed those 2 weeks after, so no symptoms were showing with the other people. So we did all that. No hugs. I'm a Taurus, so that was hard, but it set me up for the next year, for 2021, where I had 5 months of no hugs or physical touch, and that's where I felt like I came back into my original creation, the womb that my ancestors made for me, as well as all that I had experienced and done with that time before that, 78 to 2021. And so, because most of us always have somebody hanging off of us at some point, like, especially if you're a mom or have kids, like, you don't really have privacy in your body, even the fist bumps, right? That's what broke my fast of not having physical touch. It was November 2020 to April 2021. And I got a fist bump from a guy that I had seen at Walmart a bunch of times. And I was like, and then I didn't get my first hug until the end of May from my friend who drove down from Oregon, I think, to here on the way to Texas to give me a hug. And so I just have a different experience, and that experience helped me heal from my mom's passing. My mom passed about 4 months after I got after I was isolated from COVID and I came up here in May. She passed 3 months later. Yeah, August 1st, 2020, the day before my anniversary for my 1 year of painting. And so that was significant. I pay attention I pay attention to numbers. I pay attention to birthdays, death dates, because we honor life. And that was significant because I had always thought, for me, success is if I can do something for a year, and then if I can do it for 2 years, it's set. So that's I just felt like this was it, and this was, yeah. There's so much more to say, but the recently being able to start again with it, I feel like my heart's, that's what I'm trying to bring up. It's been 3 years of, I consider these my early work, my faith fulfilled work, my ascension paintings, my healing paintings, and the beginning, because it just shows the who I am, the discipline, the love, the now pride. I can speak on this. I started to get my voice back more when I met the love of my life, the December 7th one. But I'm in a new life. I'm in a new lifetimes. I've been healing that. I've been healing because that's a story, right? These are stories that I built my life on. Some of them just aren't true anymore. It's not that they're dead, but they're like in a different book or a different library or different. I've given them away in the paintings too. I've given them away in this talk. I've given them to the water, to the sky, to God. Here, that's one of the things I was going to mention. The funny thing about being in a relationship with God, I'm a friend, right? And God is so much the personified, the one that anyways, when I surrender and give myself to God, I feel like God gives my life right back to me. Say, you're good here. This is yours. And then I'm like, I'm so thankful. Thank you. And I'm like seizing, but I'm like, I'll be crying. Thank you for my life. I will care for it. I will make it beautiful. I will share it, and that's what I'm doing. Before, with my mother, when my mother was here, it was more like, I will honor my life because my mother gave me life. I was able to, but I was able to pass through her life. Like, she carried me, she nurtured me, she loved me, she dreamed of me since she was 12. That's what she told me. So I honor the child that she was, who wanted me, right? And of course I chose her too, right? But I had to come in on that love wave and that want wave, right? And my biological father wanted me to. He wanted to be a dad, right? He died April 18th, 2000. Wow, April 18th, 1978. And I was born May 17th. So it was like less than a month later I was born. I don't know why I did this. Anyways, that was wild. So when my mom was alive, especially those first, I was dedicated to her, and I was more like, and that's why I work, like I was gonna say, that's why I worship women. That's the Divine Mother. It was able to kind of lift more to how, and I know, anyways, I would say Divine Feminine too, but I feel being able, I'm censoring myself. I'm not gonna be able to talk about that right now, because I'm not fully formed on it, and it's but I love women, and all life here on this planet, which this body was made for me, comes from the mother principle. It comes from chaos, creation, change, beauty, sensuality, sexuality, fertility, growth, change, men. Like, we all start off, when I said men, I'm not addressing men, and I was saying a change or variation, right, in the human form, or I really, that's where I you know, and that might be an idealization, and it might be something that I change on, but I just feel like all life comes from Mother Divine. So I know when I'm talking about God, it feels like male, but that's me putting personal things. And even the Mother Divine, or the Divine Mother, that's me personalized. But it's how I view things, everything coming from this source of growth, that can grow and nurture and endure pain, endure ignorance, endure just just thinking about this earth and all the stuff that has gone on here makes me want to spit. It makes me I'm angry right now. This is I'm angry 1,000 times more, maybe more, but I always settle down because really my vibration is love. But I witness, and I'm mad at what has been done here, and I know that it's healing, and I know that I know that we won this. This planet is ours. It is a matter of time. Anything that is on this earth, any business or corporation that is manufacturing or doing anything to hurt human beings, and any inhabitant on the planet, it's over. But any company that's making things for humans to consume that are hurtful to humans, over. That it can't be. This planet is abundant. It's for our health and our well-being and for me, a place to play and enjoy and explore and feel safe and secure, right? So that's my idea of heaven on earth, right? That's what it's ideal, but it's possible because it's simple. It's just like a place to be happy, a place to learn and watch things grow and interact and come up with stuff that does no harm, you know? And I know that's subjective. Some people will say, and I have, this philosophy about it, but I'm dreaming. I'm a dreamer. I'm a lover, right? I'm coming from this perspective. That's another thing of the paintings. I can see your perspective, or I will see your perspective and incorporate that, and I honor it. Because it comes from you, your universe, your experiences, your ancestors, your knowledge. And I feel like everybody's life is gold because everybody's knowledge is gold. And so that's the philosophy of love that I have too. But it's like, that's what I show in my work, is that, and maybe it's not just the painting, maybe it's just everything that I am, right? Every movement, every breath, but I can see it. And that was the whole point, because sometimes energy work can't be seen, and intellectual work or mental work can't be seen. Soul work sometimes can't be seen. But that was physical. That was like, look, this is it, and look how beautiful we are, But it says, like, I'm the one that made that. That's what came through me. So that's my perspective, my inner perspective. And now that it's outside, we can check it out and see what's happening, But it's also my my original eyes. So sometimes in 2021, from April to about my birthday, I walked around more with my I call them my original eyes. And this is how I see the vision. I didn't wear glasses until I was 10. So my first 10 years of life had the experience of learning how people felt and how people thought, and while still interacting with what people said. And so I was learning, that's clair abilities. I was learning my environment the way that my soul needed to learn my environment while being present physically here. So I've been taught that's what I was saying, I've been taught since I was very young. But yeah, I couldn't, that was my sense that was not particularly, formed, and it's still, my vision is different. But it would be just a little bit of colors and like fuzzy. I don't know how to describe it. Maybe one day I'll be able to show you. I'm sure that the technology is available to be able to show. But that's what the work is. And a lot of it is from like a bird's point of view, or a high point of view. I didn't realize that because I didn't look at the work for a long time. I just made it. If you can imagine, over 800 pieces in less than 4 years, and I've taken 2 months off. And then I had to take time off when I was sick. And to heal anyways. I've taken time off, but that's a lot. That means that's what I was doing. That's what I was doing when I lived under a freeway. That's what I was doing in the tent. That's what I've been doing in the last 2 years. I haven't In 3 weeks, it'll be that I haven't seen anybody I knew pre-pandemic for 2 years. So I've started over with my physical environment. I wanted to be physical with people. I didn't want to be on devices. I didn't want to be on social media. I didn't want to be so far away. I've been doing that for so long, you know. And then I felt like when the pandemic happened, people got on Zoom and they got on the internet more. It was more electronic and internet, but I had already planted my seeds from maybe 2006, 2005 with MySpace, 2009 definitely, Facebook and blogs and stuff like that, and all these. So I just felt done, and I want to just be with nature, and I want to learn about the natural world and listen to music and see different arts and experience things that I haven't. I want to see the earth. I want to see this place. I want to see what it's becoming. All right. Oof, I'm tired. I'm supposed to have surgery on this mouth, this tooth and this tooth. This one has an infection. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a bump. And it's taken about 4 months to get the insurance and get the surgery. It was going to get put off to October. And I finally have a date, it's in a couple days. And I have to have somebody there. It's 45 minutes to an hour. And the dentist is like, you know, they know that I'm homeless, and I'm part of 2 community centers, but like one of them is like, we can't have anybody just stay. We can drop you off or pick you up. And then here at the shelter, one guy can sit with me, but he can't take me there or drop me off because it's against policy. They can't have anybody in their car. So I don't know what I'm going to do. And I started this process July 6th. I think I found out the end of June that this was going to be the appointment. And I don't know what else to do, because it's like I can't take an Uber or a Lyft, or I might can and have the person follow me, this guy, the case manager, but I don't have the money for an Uber or a Lyft. So I have enough money right now to get wipes and toilet paper, and then that's it. And so at least next week I won't have to worry about eating, because I won't be able to. And I fast anyways. I do intermediate fasting, but sometimes I do 24 and 36, 48. And so the last couple of weeks I've been practicing with, 24 and 36. So my body could be as healed as possible and not having so much energy diverting to digestion. And that's something that I was talking about earlier with the chewing and being able to digest, and how that affects our body and affects our ability to digest information. It affects our emotional body and our spiritual body, because there's so much turmoil. And it also, for me, made me afraid to eat and made me uninterested in eating. So I'm not particularly interested in eating, but I'm interested in experiencing other people's culture. Culture is so much about food. I've been reading about it, but one of my fears or concerns is that I want to, like I said, walk the earth being myself, and want to be accepted for him wherever I go. And this part of my evolution, I just don't feel particularly interested in food, but I'm interested in tasting it, and I'm trying to figure out a way to do that. And I'm thinking maybe more developed sense of smell, because I know that it's people's pride and people's way of comforting and inviting, but I don't want to, and I don't want to be sick because of it, and I won't be, but I don't want to be limited, and I don't want to be seen as I don't want to be seen as an alien or a freak, I just want to hang out with people and get to know folks and be cool. And at the same time, I just want to rest and have privacy and pray, because I like that, and learn how to express in new ways where I'm not so afraid, because expressing my fear and saying these sentences now helps release things. It helps heal things. And that's part of healing the throat chakra. And anyways, I'm tired. So, no. Bye. One more view. And I want to say thank you to the birds and thank you to all the animals who joined and made like little contributions with their sounds. Thanks for watching. Indoje, Osananda out.